At the heart of a sprawling military base, where the air was thick with determination, a unique blend of noise filled the atmosphere. The clattering of boots on concrete, the commanding shouts of instructors, and the occasional burst of laughter from groups of Marines painted a lively picture. This was not just any army base. It was a place where young men and women trained to serve their country, pushing themselves to the limits both physically and mentally. A bright sun hung high in the sky, casting long shadows across the training grounds. Rows of recruits moved in perfect unison, practicing drills and honing their skills. However, in one corner of this bustling base, a small, less glamorous area caught the eye, where cleaning supplies stacked neatly alongside brooms and mops. This was where they often found her. While others were training hard for combat, she had a different role. Though assigned to maintain order and cleanliness, her dedication shone through everything she did. Her name was Captain Sarah Miller, and though she wore her rank with pride, it was often overshadowed by her duties as the cleaning lady among her peers. Day after day, she swept floors and organized equipment, determined to keep the base spotless despite the playful jabs from those around her. The teasing started innocently enough. "Hey there, Captain. Need help dusting off those medals?" one Marine would say while tossing a rag into her cleaning bucket. Laughter would ripple through their group as they watched her continue scrubbing without losing focus. It was all in good fun, or so they thought. The more they laughed, the more she cleaned. Sarah learned to smile through their jokes. After all, she had ambitions that extended beyond scrubbing floors. Each insult rolled off her back like water from a duck, a strategy to keep herself focused on her goals rather than the childish banter. In her heart, she understood that their words stemmed from misconceptions about roles within the military. As days turned into weeks at the base, Sarah formed bonds with some Marines who respected her hard work without needing to mock her publicly. They saw glimpses of her fierce spirit and innate leadership skills when things got tough or chaotic during training exercises. However, far too many still remained content with treating her as merely the cleaning lady. And yet, within this atmosphere of jest and camaraderie lay an unshakable truth. Beneath her unassuming surface was a woman ready to rise above expectations. With time, even those who teased would find themselves taken aback when they learned who she truly was, a remarkable leader in disguise. As sunlight began to fade over the horizon that day, little did anyone know that soon enough, perceptions would shift dramatically, and respect would be earned in unexpected ways. Captain Sarah Miller was more than just a diligent worker. She was a woman of strength, resilience, and ambition. Standing at an average height with a determined look in her deep brown eyes, she had always found ways to rise above challenges. Her dark hair was often tied back into a neat bun, a reflection of her disciplined nature. Every morning, she donned her uniform with pride, knowing that each stitch represented years of hard work and dedication. Sarah grew up in a small town where dreams often felt distant. From an early age, she learned the value of perseverance and the importance of following one's passions. Inspired by stories of brave women in the military, she decided to join the Marines, seeing it as a way to serve her country, while also proving that women could excel in roles typically held by men. She faced many hurdles on her journey, and each obstacle only fueled her determination to succeed. Her training was rigorous and challenging. She pushed through physical drills and mental tests that would intimidate most. Sarah emerged from training not only skilled, but also toughened by experiences that shaped her into a capable leader. She graduated at the top of her class and earned her rank as captain, reflecting her commitment and dedication. Yet, Despite this impressive achievement, she found herself assigned to cleaning duties on the base. As she mopped floors or organized supplies, some Marines failed to see beyond her role. They focused only on the surface, what they perceived as mundane tasks, and overlooked the training and discipline that made her a leader. However, Sarah's spirit remained unbroken. Instead of responding with anger or frustration to their jabs, she used their mockery as motivation to demonstrate her character and strength. In quieter moments, when the hustle of the base slowed down, Sarah would take the time to reflect on her journey. She often envisioned herself in commanding positions where she could lead troops into action, inspire others to follow their dreams, and break down barriers for future generations of women in the military. Her grace under pressure did not go unnoticed by everyone. A few Marines recognized that there was more to Captain Miller than met the eye. They admired her ability to handle difficult situations with poise while maintaining high standards for cleanliness on base. These individuals began to seek her advice during drills and operations, intrigued by the depth beneath her humble approach. As rumors of her capabilities began to spread within the ranks, whispers started circulating about what lay beneath the surface of this seemingly simple cleaning lady. Little did they know how close they were to discovering that Sarah was not just an officer, but someone ready to challenge expectations and rise as an extraordinary leader among them. As the sun rose each day, the routine at the military base began with a flurry of activity. Recruits lined up for morning drills, and the air buzzed with shouts of encouragement and orders from instructors. Amidst this bustling environment, Captain Sarah Miller quietly prepared for her day, armed with cleaning supplies instead of combat gear. While others were focused on their rigorous training, she was assigned to keep the base orderly and clean, a task that often came with its own set of challenges. Every morning, as she scrubbed floors or wiped down equipment, familiar voices rang out from a distance. "Hey, Captain, found any hidden metals under that mop?" shouted one Marine, eliciting laughter from his friends. It was a common sight, a playful jab aimed at Sarah as she diligently went about her work. Despite their teasing tone, she could sense their underlying camaraderie. It was all meant to be light-hearted fun, or so they thought. Yet, day after day, the jokes chipped away at her spirit. Each comment echoed in her mind, reminding her of how others perceived her role. "Look at Captain Cleaning Lady," another mockingly exclaimed while tossing a paper towel at her. While she fought to keep her composure, deep down she felt the sting of their words. It wasn't just the teasing that bothered her. It was the dismissal of her hard-earned accomplishments and potential. Amid this daily mockery, Sarah found herself wrestling with mixed emotions. She would sometimes smile in response to their jests, though it was often a mask to hide her frustration. Wanting to rise above their misconceptions about her role, she maintained an unwavering commitment to her cleaning duties. To her peers, she might have been just another officer in charge of maintaining cleanliness. However, Sarah understood that every task held importance. During moments when the other Marines were preoccupied with training or relaxing after drills, she would visualize herself in command positions, leading troops confidently into action rather than sweeping floors. The contrast between their disdainful banter and her aspirations fueled an inner fire within her. She often dreamed of earning their respect, not by proving them wrong, but by demonstrating the strength and wisdom beneath her unassuming exterior. Occasionally, there were glimpses of kindness amid the teasing. A few Marines would stop by to lend a hand or offer words of encouragement when they saw her working hard. These small gestures reminded Sarah that not everyone viewed her through the same lens. Some recognized the dedication she poured into every task. Despite this reality check, the overall atmosphere remained challenging for Sarah. With every quip and laugh directed at her cleaning duties, she resolved to transform herself from the cleaning lady into a respected leader. One who would eventually earn recognition for much more than simply maintaining order on base. Unbeknownst to her comrades, change was coming just around the corner, and soon they would see who the true Captain Miller really was. As the days progressed, the atmosphere at the military base shifted subtly. With each passing week, the teasing aimed at Captain Sarah Miller intensified. It was as if her fellow Marines sought to test her resolve, pushing the boundaries of their playful banter into something more serious. The camaraderie that once felt warm now began to feel like a weight on her shoulders. One particularly challenging day, the base was preparing for a large inspection. High-ranking officers were scheduled to visit, and every Marine was expected to be on their best behavior. Tension filled the air as they polished their gear and practiced their drills. Sarah was no exception. She worked tirelessly to ensure that her area shone brightly for the inspection. Yet, in the midst of this heightened pressure, her fellow Marines saw an opportunity to poke fun at her again. "Hey, Captain, you think they'll notice if you mop the floors while we're marching?" One Marine called out with a smirk. Laughter erupted from the group, and Sarah felt a familiar pang of frustration. She could feel the eyes of others watching as they snickered at her expense. This wasn't just teasing. It felt like a challenge to her very worth. Determined not to let their words get to her, Sarah decided to turn that frustration into motivation. She watched as her colleagues practiced their drills with precision and confidence, and something inside her ignited. She realized that while they were focused on showing off their physical prowess, she had her own strengths that could prove valuable during the inspection. In a moment of inspiration, Sarah approached her commanding officer and offered to assist in coordinating the inspection efforts. She proposed organizing a team to ensure that everything was perfectly arranged for the visitors. At first, her suggestion was met with surprise. Some questioned why she wanted to step outside her assigned role. But as she spoke passionately about how attention to detail could reflect a unit's pride, her officer recognized the spark of leadership in her words. With newfound purpose, Sarah gathered a small team of motivated Marines to help prepare for the inspection. As they worked together, she found an unexpected ally in one Marine who had previously mocked her. This Marine approached Sarah and offered constructive feedback on how to streamline their cleaning process while still maintaining high standards. The shift in dynamics slowly began to reshape perceptions. As the day of inspection arrived, Sarah's team executed their plan flawlessly. They worked seamlessly together, showcasing not only cleanliness, but also teamwork and dedication. When the high-ranking officers arrived, they were impressed by the organization and discipline displayed by Sarah and her team. For the first time, it seemed that Sarah's contributions were being acknowledged beyond mere mockery. As she stood alongside her teammates during the inspection, she felt an overwhelming sense of pride, not just in herself, but in how far she had come from being seen as only the cleaning lady. In that moment, she realized that challenges could be transformed into opportunities for growth and respect. Little did everyone know that this was just the beginning of a remarkable journey where perceptions would soon shift even further in ways they could never have anticipated. After the successful inspection, a sense of excitement swirled around the military base. The high-ranking officer's approval had lifted the spirits of the entire unit, and for the first time, Sarah felt a hint of acceptance from her peers. As they celebrated their achievements, Little did anyone know that a significant announcement was about to change everything. A few days later, an unexpected buzz filled the air as an urgent message spread among the Marines. The commanding officer had called for an assembly. Curiosity piqued. Everyone gathered in the central courtyard, where the sun shone brightly on their uniforms. The anticipation was palpable as whispers filled the space, with Marines speculating about what the announcement could be. Captain Sarah stood among her colleagues, her heart racing. She felt a mix of hope and anxiety. Despite her recent accomplishments, she still sensed lingering doubt from some of her peers. Would this announcement affect her newfound respect? As she scanned the crowd, she noticed familiar faces, both those who had mocked her and those who had begun to see her true potential. The commanding officer stepped forward and cleared his throat, commanding attention instantly. Attention! We have gathered here today to recognize outstanding performances within our ranks, he announced, a gleam of pride in his eyes. The atmosphere shifted from casual chatter to focused silence. He continued, during our recent inspection, we were impressed not only by the cleanliness of our facilities, but also by the teamwork and leadership displayed by Captain Sarah Miller. Gasps of surprise rippled through the crowd as many turned to look at her in disbelief. The teasing nickname, Cleaning Lady, echoed in their minds, but now it felt like a fading memory. Captain Miller took initiative when it mattered most, he continued, organizing her fellow Marines and exemplifying what it means to lead by example. Applause erupted, and for a moment Sarah was taken aback by the overwhelming support. Her cheeks flushed with a mix of embarrassment and gratitude. But then came the twist that no one expected. In recognition of her exceptional contributions and leadership skills demonstrated during this inspection, he said dramatically, I am proud to announce that Captain Sarah Miller will be promoted to general. The courtyard fell silent for a heartbeat before erupting into cheers and applause. Shocked expressions filled the faces of those who had mocked her just days ago. Disbelief mingled with admiration as they realized they had underestimated her all along. As Sarah stood there receiving congratulations from fellow Marines, she felt a weight lift off her shoulders. No longer would she be defined by teasing remarks or mundane tasks. In that moment of recognition and celebration, she finally stepped into her true identity as not just a cleaning officer, but as a respected leader ready to take on greater challenges ahead. Amidst cheers and handshakes, Sarah glanced at her peers, with tears of joy glistening in her eyes, knowing that their perceptions had forever changed. It was clear that respect had been earned through hard work, determination, and now officially recognized leadership. And as she accepted this new title, she couldn't help but feel that this was only the beginning of an extraordinary journey ahead. As the applause began to fade, Captain Sarah Miller stood before her fellow Marines, still processing the whirlwind of emotions that came with her unexpected promotion. The sunlight glinted off her new insignia, a shiny emblem of her rank as general, contrasting sharply against the dark fabric of her uniform. It was a moment she had dreamed of but never expected to arrive so soon. The courtyard buzzed with excitement as Sarah's peers congratulated her, their faces a mix of shock and admiration. Whispers floated through the crowd. Did you hear? She's a general now. I can't believe it. And with each passing moment, the weight of their past teasing began to lift. No longer was she just the cleaning lady. She was now a figure of authority and respect. As she looked around, Sarah noticed some familiar faces, the very Marines who had once poked fun at her cleaning duties. Their expressions were no longer filled with mockery. Instead, They radiated respect and recognition. One Marine who had often teased her approached with an outstretched hand and said, "Congratulations, General. You proved us all wrong." His smile held sincerity that warmed Sarah's heart. Feeling both grateful and humbled, she accepted his handshake firmly. This small gesture marked a significant turning point in their relationship. It was a moment of acknowledgement that she had not only earned their respect, but had risen above their doubts. Still absorbing the reality of her promotion, Sarah found herself reflecting on her journey. Each challenge faced along the way contributed to this new chapter in her life. From enduring playful jabs to taking charge during the inspection, every experience had shaped her into the leader she had become. She remembered late nights spent studying military strategy and early mornings spent polishing floors, each effort building toward this defining moment. As General Miller stood before her unit, she felt an overwhelming desire to inspire them in return. "Thank you all for your support," she began, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "This promotion isn't just mine. It belongs to each of you who believed in teamwork and dedication." The crowd hushed as they listened intently to their newly appointed leader. "I want everyone here to know that regardless of your role, whether you're on the front lines or ensuring cleanliness, you are all crucial to our success," she continued passionately. "It's not about titles. It's about how we work together to achieve our goals." A newfound sense of unity seemed to fill the air as Sarah spoke from the heart. Her words resonated deeply with those listening. Her fellow Marines felt inspired by not just what she had accomplished, but also by how she valued each member of their team. That day marked a pivotal shift within the ranks at the base. No longer would anyone see only a captain scrubbing floors. They now saw General Sarah Miller, a leader ready to take on challenges ahead while lifting others alongside her. As cheers erupted once again, Sarah smiled brightly, knowing this was just the beginning of an extraordinary journey filled with endless possibilities for herself and those around her. In the days following her promotion, General Sarah Miller experienced a newfound sense of camaraderie and respect from her fellow Marines. The atmosphere at the base transformed as whispers of admiration replaced the teasing jabs she once endured. As she walked through the ranks, soldiers greeted her with salutes and kind words, acknowledging her not just as their superior, but as a source of inspiration. One morning, during a routine training session, Sarah decided to take a different approach to engage her team. She gathered the Marines in a circle and invited them to share what they valued most about their roles. One by one, they opened up about their experiences, the challenges they faced, and how they saw themselves contributing to the greater mission. It was a moment of vulnerability that shattered previous barriers and reinforced their sense of unity. "I never thought cleaning could be so important," shared one young Marine, blushing slightly. "But it reflects our pride in being part of this team." Others nodded in agreement, recalling moments when attention to detail made all the difference during inspections or readiness evaluations. Sarah smiled as she listened intently. "Each task contributes to our success," she said warmly. "We all play essential roles here at this base, no matter how small they seem. Together, we can achieve incredible things." Her words resonated deeply within them, reinforcing that respect is earned through recognizing each other's contributions. As weeks passed, more changes unfolded within the unit. Sarah encouraged open communication and teamwork during drills, while emphasizing that leadership meant supporting one another. Each day brought new opportunities for collaboration. She led strategy sessions where everyone contributed ideas and feedback, promoting a stronger bond among them. One afternoon, During a particularly challenging training exercise, Sarah noticed that some Marines were struggling with their confidence. Remembering her own journey and setbacks along the way, she decided to step in personally. Leading by example, she rolled up her sleeves and joined them on the field, running alongside those who hesitated and providing encouragement every step of the way. "Push yourself. You're stronger than you think," she shouted amidst heavy breaths. Her determination seemed contagious as others started to pick up their pace. Soon laughter erupted between exercises instead of fatigue. The motivation surged within the group as they all worked together toward common goals rather than competing against each other. At that moment of triumph, a moment where every soldier completed the drill successfully, her troops cheered not just for themselves, but for each other. And there stood General Miller in the center of it all, saturated with sweat, yet glowing with pride over how far they had come together. Looking back at how far she'd been pushed down before this transformation began, made everything worthwhile. Respect had genuinely been earned through compassion and mutual support, rather than rank or titles alone. With renewed purpose lighting her path forward, Sarah understood this was only the beginning. Even greater milestones awaited ahead for her unit. A team built on trust underlined by true leadership and resilience as they moved toward future missions side by side. As General Sarah Miller settled into her new role, she found herself reflecting deeply on the nature of leadership and what it truly meant to guide others. It was no longer just about having a title or rank. It was about the connections forged with her Marines and how she could inspire them to achieve greatness together. In the quiet moments of her day, Sarah would often think back to her time as captain. Those experiences of mockery and doubt had molded her into the resilient leader she was becoming. She learned that true leadership is built on empathy, understanding, and respect for each individual's contributions, regardless of their position. The teasing she once faced transformed from a painful memory into a powerful motivator to create an inclusive environment where everyone felt valued. One afternoon, while reviewing plans for an upcoming training exercise, Sarah gathered her thoughts. She remembered the day of her promotion, how the cheers echoed into her heart, filling her with a surge of purpose. But with that title came responsibility, not just for her own actions, but for the lives and careers of those under her command. The weight of their expectations was both humbling and thrilling. Determined to reinforce the values she held dear, Sarah implemented regular feedback sessions where every Marine could voice their thoughts without fear of judgment. She encouraged open dialogues and ideas from all levels, believing that innovation often emerged from diverse perspectives. With each session, trust blossomed within her unit, creating an environment where creativity flowed freely. During one such meeting, a young recruit hesitated before sharing an idea about improving their drills. She recognized the nervousness in his voice. She had once felt that same apprehension when standing in front of her peers. Instead of pushing through with suggestions from higher ranks, she urged him on. "Your insights matter," she smiled encouragingly. "Let's hear your plan." As he spoke, Sarah felt immense pride swelling within her. The very act of enabling this young Marine to contribute resembled everything she wished for their team. Over time, these little victories added up. Morale skyrocketed as team members began to celebrate each other's successes. Sarah often reminded them after challenging exercises, "It's not about perfection, it's about growth." This philosophy became central to their culture. Every setback was viewed as a learning opportunity rather than failure. Looking around at her Marines during training exercises filled Sarah with gratitude and wonder. They worked in unison, trusting one another implicitly, a bond that perhaps could only be nurtured through shared experiences and challenges overcome together. Each individual brought something unique to the table. There was beauty in their differences that had once been overshadowed by misunderstanding. As Sarah prepared for a significant upcoming mission, she knew she had transformed beyond just a leader with a rank. She had embraced mentorship as a way of leading. Her journey had given her insight into what true respect means. It comes not from authority alone, but from listening with intention and lifting others as they strive toward collective goals. With determination lighting her path forward, General Miller felt ready for whatever lay ahead, a future built on mutual respect, understanding, and unwavering support among those who fought side by side toward a common purpose. As the weeks passed, General Sarah Miller felt a renewed energy coursing through her unit. They were no longer the same Marines who had once regarded her with skepticism and amusement. They had transformed into a cohesive team, united by shared goals and mutual respect. This evolution was evident in how they approached training tasks and mission preparations. Sarah noticed how each member now took pride not just in their own responsibilities, but also in supporting their teammates. One sunny afternoon, she gathered everyone for a team-building exercise designed to strengthen trust and communication among the ranks. With smiles on their faces, the Marines participated in various activities that required collaboration, reminding them of their strengths beyond individual duties. Sarah believed that through these activities, they could deepen their connections and foster an environment where everyone felt comfortable expressing themselves. During one specific exercise, called the Trust Fall, Marine after Marine stepped forward to take the leap backward while trusting their fellow soldiers to catch them. Laughter and cheers filled the air as the exercises progressed, but what truly touched Sarah was how each person embraced vulnerability. The act of falling backward symbolized a commitment to lean on each other, both physically and emotionally. After everyone had participated successfully, Sarah gathered them in a circle. "This is what teamwork looks like," she said warmly. "It's about holding each other up when things get tough, not just during drills or missions, but in life as well." The acknowledgement of trust exchanged within that circle created a bond stronger than any rank could solidify. With every training session they shared, Sarah witnessed her Marines pushing their limits together. They learned from each other's mistakes and celebrated one another's victories, big or small. She emphasized that growth was not about perfection. It was about learning and evolving as individuals and as a unit. As plans for an upcoming deployment began to take shape, Sarah saw an opportunity for her team to further solidify their unity. She introduced weekly strategy meetings where every voice was encouraged to contribute. Ideas were welcomed from all ranks, regardless of experience level. This approach not only led to innovative solutions, but also boosted morale as everyone felt empowered to take part in shaping their mission. On one particularly lively evening during a session filled with brainstorming, a junior Marine proposed an alternative strategy that surprised everyone. Her idea addressed potential challenges with remarkable clarity. Sarah recognized her leadership skill emerging under the spotlight of opportunity. "That's brilliant. Let's implement your plan for our upcoming exercise," she commended, encouraging others to acknowledge the contributions of their peers. As deployment day approached, Sarah stood before her unit with pride swelling in her chest. They had transformed from hesitant individuals into a trusted team who would tackle challenges together, united in purpose and growth. "Together," she declared passionately, "we are ready for whatever lies ahead." With newfound confidence emanating from every Marine present, they rallied around one another, setting expectations high for their future endeavors together. General Miller knew that this journey, rooted in respect, empathy, and shared experiences, was only the beginning of many milestones to come on their path forward as they moved ahead side by side into the unknown future awaiting them. As General Sarah Miller looked out over her unit, she felt an overwhelming sense of pride in what they had accomplished together. The journey from being seen as the cleaning lady to a respected leader had not only transformed her life, but had also strengthened the bonds among her Marines. Their shared experiences had cultivated a culture of trust, support, and understanding, a foundation she hoped would continue to thrive even in challenging times ahead. Reflecting on the twists and turns of her path, Sarah recognized that true leadership is not merely about authority, but about inspiring others to believe in themselves. She thought back to those early days when her fellow Marines teased her for her cleaning duties. In those moments, she learned resilience. Instead of allowing their mockery to define her, she turned it into motivation, pushing herself to prove that she was more than just her assigned tasks. Leadership is a journey, she often reminded herself and now told her Marines. It's about lifting each other up and growing together. Her message resonated deeply with her unit. They understood that each member, regardless of rank or responsibility, played an essential role in their collective success. This newfound perspective shifted their previously competitive nature into one of collaboration. As the date of deployment drew closer, Sarah prepared her team for the challenges ahead. She knew that they would face obstacles and uncertainties, but she also understood that they were equipped with the tools necessary to navigate them together. They had established trust through open communication and support, which would serve as their strength when things got tough. In a final pre-deployment meeting, Sarah gathered everyone around and shared her vision for their mission. "We are not just soldiers. We are a family," she said passionately. "Let's face whatever comes our way together. Remember, it's okay to stumble as long as we help each other get back up." As she spoke, Sarah saw determination reflected in the eyes of her Marines. They were ready, not just as individuals, but as a united front, prepared to confront any challenge that lay ahead. The camaraderie forged through teamwork would be their greatest asset in the field. In the heart of every Marine, Sarah planted the seeds of inspiration. She encouraged them to cherish their unique qualities and contributions, while reminding them that success was not defined solely by victory on the battlefield, but by how they treated one another along the way. It was the respect they earned from each other that mattered most. As deployment day arrived, a palpable energy filled the air. With bags packed and hearts racing, Sarah led her team forward, each soldier stepping confidently side by side. She felt deeply grateful for how far they had come and excited for what awaited them on this new chapter of their lives. With purpose guiding them, General Sarah Miller knew their journey, rooted in resilience, empathy, and teamwork, was just beginning. The lessons learned and bonds formed would empower them not only during this mission, but throughout their lives as they continued to move forward together into an uncertain yet promising future.